You love your partner, you really do. There are good days, great memories, and a foundation of real care. On paper, everything looks fine. So why can't you shake that quiet, persistent feeling in your gut that something is deeply wrong? It's a silent dissatisfaction you can't quite name, an invisible friction that leaves you feeling lonely even when you're together. You find yourself wondering, why am I so unhappy, when there are no explosive fights or obvious betrayals? It's a confusing, isolating place to be, caught between the love you feel for your partner and a profound sense of discontent. You start questioning everything. Is it me? Is it them? Is this just what long-term relationships are supposed to feel like? The good news is you're not imagining it. That feeling is real, and it's not just one thing, it's often a combination of hidden dynamics. So, let's expose the 4 psychological traps that can turn a loving relationship into a source of quiet unhappiness. By understanding them, you can finally give a name to what you're feeling and, more importantly, figure out what to do about it. You love your partner and on paper, things seem fine, but you can't shake that quiet feeling that something is deeply wrong. It's a silent dissatisfaction you just can't put your finger on. We're about to expose the 4 hidden psychological traps that quietly poison relationships from the inside out, and what you can do about them. The first, and maybe the most common trap, is what experts call an attachment mismatch, which plays out famously in the anxious-avoidant dynamic. This is what happens when 2 people who process emotions in totally different ways try to love each other, and in doing so, accidentally trigger each other's deepest fears. It's a silent dance of disconnection where one person is always chasing closeness and the other is always seeking distance. Here's what that looks like. The anxiously attached partner craves reassurance and consistent connection. The moment they sense a little distance, their internal alarm system blares. This kicks off what psychologists call protest behaviors. Maybe they text more, repeatedly ask, "Are we okay?" or even pick a fight just to get any emotional reaction. All they want is a sign that the connection is still there. On the other side, you have the avoidant partner. They value their independence and can feel suffocated by intense emotional demands. For them, too much intimacy can feel like a threat to their sense of self. So when their anxious partner starts pursuing them for reassurance, their alarm system goes off. Their instinct isn't to lean in, it's to pull away. They might go quiet, change the subject, or bury themselves in work. This retreat, of course, is the very thing that terrifies the anxious partner, making them pursue even harder. It's a devastating cycle that leaves both partners feeling profoundly misunderstood. The anxious partner thinks, why don't they care enough to just reassure me? While the avoidant partner thinks, why is nothing I do ever enough? This gets even worse when you have what's called a meta-emotion mismatch, which is really just about how you feel about feelings. One person might be an emotion coach, believing all feelings need to be talked through and validated. The other might be an emotion dismisser, seeing negative emotions as problems to be solved, ignored, or just pushed through. So when the coach wants to talk about their sadness, the dismisser offers a solution. The coach feels unheard, the dismisser feels like their practical help was rejected, and you end up lying next to someone you love feeling a million miles away. This isn't about a lack of love, it's about a clash in emotional wiring that, if you don't address it, breeds quiet resentment. The second trap is a battle happening inside your own brain, the fight between dopamine and attachment. In the early days of your relationship, the honeymoon phase, your brain is swimming in dopamine. That's the neurotransmitter of pleasure and reward. It creates the euphoria, the obsession, the butterflies, all that intoxicating energy of new love. But here's the catch. That dopamine high isn't supposed to last forever. As a relationship matures and gets more stable, the brain chemistry shifts. The dopamine rush fades and is gradually replaced by oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. Oxytocin is what fosters trust, calm, and secure attachment. It's the chemical backbone of stable, long-term love. The trap is that your brain can mistake this healthy transition for a problem. After being conditioned by the wild highs of dopamine, the calm, steady baseline of an oxytocin bond can feel boring. Your brain thinks, wait, something's wrong. The spark is gone. And just like that, dissatisfaction creeps in. You might look at your perfectly good, stable partner and feel restless, convinced you've fallen out of love, when really, your relationship has just leveled up. This can lead to an even more destructive pattern, the drama cycle. Some couples get unknowingly hooked on the cycle of fighting and making up. During a fight, your body is full of the stress hormone cortisol, but when you reconcile, your brain delivers a huge spike of dopamine as a reward. This creates a variable reward loop, one of the most addictive patterns out there. The brain learns that the most intense pleasure comes right after the most intense conflict. Soon, partners might unconsciously start picking fights just to feel that euphoric rush of making up. They get addicted to the volatility, mistaking the roller coaster for passion. In these relationships, peace feels like boredom, and stability feels like a sign the love is dead. But this constant cycle of stress and reward erodes true intimacy because all that cortisol actually suppresses oxytocin, the very hormone you need for secure bonding. You're left craving the highs and lows, all while the foundation of your relationship quietly cracks. The third trap is the gap between the relationship you have and the one you think you should have. We're constantly fed a fantasy of what love is supposed to be, perpetually passionate, emotionally all-consuming, and a constant engine for personal growth. We're told our partner should be our best friend, passionate lover, therapist, career coach, and spiritual guru, all rolled into one. These sky-high expectations create a mental trap called cognitive dissonance, that uncomfortable feeling you get when your reality clashes with your beliefs. You believe, I love my partner, but you also believe, a good relationship should feel amazing all the time. When your daily life, with its boring routines and normal lulls, doesn't match that ideal, the dissonance kicks in. And since it's easier to doubt your relationship than to question the fairy tale, you conclude something must be wrong with your partner. This creates a quiet, gnawing dissatisfaction. You might feel vaguely resentful or disappointed in your partner for not living up to an impossible standard they never even signed up for. Pioneering research from the Gottman Institute shows that while having high standards for how you're treated, with respect and kindness, is healthy, expecting a relationship to be a conflict-free zone of constant excitement is a recipe for failure. In fact, their studies found that nearly 2/3 of all relationship conflicts are perpetual, meaning they're based on fundamental differences that you'll never fully solve. This trap is especially dangerous if you struggle with self-esteem. If you don't feel worthy of love, you might avoid voicing your needs for fear of being rejected. Instead of addressing small issues, you let them fester, all while comparing your messy, real-life relationship to the curated highlight reels you see online. The problem isn't your partner, it's the impossible job description you've unconsciously handed them. This constant feeling of falling short can make even a good, stable partnership feel like a failure. The final trap is the one that arguably holds all the others in place. It's called psychological inflexibility, and it's the quiet resistance to change and vulnerability that keeps a relationship stuck. Research shows that this rigid mindset is a major predictor of relationship dissatisfaction and failure. It's the poison that stops a partnership from being able to grow. Psychological inflexibility shows up in a few ways. One is having rigid, unspoken rules about how love should work. Maybe you believe, my partner should just know what I need. Or, if we really loved each other, we'd never fight about serious things. These rules aren't based on the real person you're with. They're abstract ideals. When reality inevitably fails to match the rule, instead of adjusting the rule, you judge your partner and your relationship as broken. Another form is what's called experiential avoidance. Basically, doing anything to avoid uncomfortable thoughts and feelings. If you're psychologically inflexible, you might dodge a difficult conversation at all costs. Instead of tackling a problem head-on, you blame, shut down, or distract yourself. You might say yes when you mean no just to keep the peace, letting resentment simmer. Or you might refuse to be vulnerable, building a wall around your heart that your partner can never get through. This gives you a short-term win. You escape the scary conversation, but it guarantees long-term pain as the real issue never gets resolved. Studies confirm that psychological inflexibility is strongly linked to lower relationship satisfaction and less emotional support. It's the force that prevents you from dealing with the other three traps. An inflexible person can't adapt to their partner's attachment style. They just see it as wrong. They can't accept the natural shift from dopamine to oxytocin. They only see it as a loss. They can't adjust their inflated expectations. They can only feel let down. It's what keeps you stuck in your dissatisfaction, unable to see a way forward because you're unwilling to bend. So, we've laid out these 4 traps: the anxious-avoidant disconnect, the dopamine drama cycle, inflated expectations, and psychological inflexibility. Seeing them all at once might feel a little heavy, but here's the most important part. Awareness is the first, most powerful step toward change. For the first time, you might be able to look at your relationship and say, oh, that's what's happening. It's not that our love is gone, we're just caught in a trap. These traps don't work alone, they feed each other. An attachment mismatch can spark the fights that lead to a drama cycle. Inflated expectations can make you inflexible, unwilling to accept the reality of your relationship. Breaking free starts with calling out the pattern. Try talking with your partner about these ideas. Do you get stuck in the pursuer, distance, or dance? Do you create drama because calm feels boring? Are your expectations for each other rooted in fantasy? When you make the trap the common enemy instead of each other, the whole dynamic shifts. From there, you can start practicing flexibility. For the anxious-avoidant pair, this means the anxious partner practices self-soothing and the avoidant partner practices leaning into discomfort. For the dopamine-addicted couple, it means intentionally creating healthy excitement, like trying new things together, instead of relying on conflict to feel a spark. It means learning to find the beauty in the calm, deep connection of an oxytocin bond. And for everyone, it means checking our expectations and practicing psychological flexibility, the willingness to feel our uncomfortable emotions without letting them run the show. Understanding these dynamics isn't about blaming anyone, it's about empowerment. It's about realizing that the quiet dissatisfaction you've been feeling isn't a sign your relationship is doomed, but a signal that your old patterns just aren't working anymore, and you have the power to change them. My hope is that this has given you a new lens to see your relationship through. Which of these 4 traps hit home for you? Share your aha moment in the comments below. Your story might be the one that helps someone else feel seen. And if you found this video valuable, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more on the psychology of love, and share it with someone who might need to hear this. The first step to a more satisfying relationship is understanding, and you've already taken that step just by being here. Thanks for watching.